Welcome to Home Video Hangouts. We live in a time where there are so many options of how we can consume our media, from various streaming services for video, music, gaming, along with all kinds of physical media formats. And I know a lot of you who watch this channel love your physical media, as I do, and a lot of you see that physical media is the only way to go and you would never use a streaming service. But hear me out on this one. I think Apple TV Plus is a very good streaming service. I'm going to explain exactly why that is in this video and why I think it is actually the best streaming service on the market right now. So to start out, Apple TV Plus is unique because they primarily have original content that you can't find on any other streaming service. And now all the streaming services have this to a certain extent. You know, Netflix has Stranger Things. We've seen Game of Thrones on HBO Max or Max now. And all the streaming services have their own unique thing that they offer in terms of certain TV series or certain TV shows. But Apple TV Plus is unique because almost everything in their catalog is unique to them. And not only that, it's all very high quality content. So occasionally Apple TV Plus will put out some older content, like older movies from other platforms and everything, but that's usually in small quantities and only for a limited time. The main focus of this subscription service and streaming service is to see original content that you can't find anywhere else. So some examples of this that have been really great on Apple TV Plus have been the TV show Severance, the TV show See with Jason Momoa. Ted Lasso is probably their biggest hit of all time. Then there's been other decent shows like the TV show Loot. There was also an awesome series with Idris Elba called Hijack. I loved that one. So there's a lot of great content to check out here that is unique to them, and if you've never tried their service, you would never know about any of these. So that's the first thing I love about Apple TV Plus is how much great original content they have compared to the other services. So second, I wanted to talk about a competitive advantage that Apple TV Plus has in the area of audio and video quality. So many people don't like streaming services because the audio and video quality can't compare to, say, a 4K Blu-ray or other forms of physical media. Other services like Netflix, for example, stream at a bit rate of around 15 megabits per second, which is adequate, but it's very much compressed compared to a physical media format. And Apple TV Plus is different because most of their 4K content is streamed at around 25 megabits per second, which is much higher and creates a very noticeable difference in audio and video quality compared to the other services. This is true across all of their content as well. Some services, like for example with HBO Max or Max, you might see a higher video and audio quality with Game of Thrones compared to the other content, or maybe Stranger Things looks better on Netflix, or The Witcher looks better on Netflix than some of the other content. But on Apple TV Plus, everything looks great. Their main hit show Ted Lasso looks phenomenal. Their action show See looks phenomenal, and even one of their more recent shows that's more of a almost sitcom style comedy called Loot is also phenomenal. It's probably one of the better things I've seen on a streaming service ever in terms of video quality. And so this creates a really unique competitive advantage for Apple because there's a lot of people who would never consider even using a streaming service because of the video and audio quality. And I'm not going to say that Apple TV Plus's content is better than what I've seen on like a 4K Blu-ray, but it is very close, closer than I've seen from any other streaming service. So keep that in mind if you're considering watching Apple TV Plus, and if you've never considered having a streaming service before, I'm telling you that the video quality and audio quality here is actually pretty great. All right, now third, I wanted to talk about cost. So we've seen over time how all the streaming services are slowly increasing what they're charging, and a lot of them are incorporating ad-based plans that have a decently low cost, but then force you to watch ads in between the content. And what Apple is doing here is unique as well. So for one, if you just go and subscribe to Apple TV Plus, they give you a free trial, and then after that, it's only $9.99 per month, which is an incredible deal, being that that is an ad-free plan that also gives you higher quality audio and video than the other streaming services because of what I mentioned before about the bit rates. Now, in addition to that, though, if you're an Apple fan, you have lots of Apple devices and you like Apple's other services, they also have something they came out with a few years ago called Apple One. Now, this is a service that I subscribe to personally, and this includes Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, Apple News, Apple Fitness, as well as, depending on what plan you choose, it can also include iCloud storage for your Apple devices. And the pricing for this is between $19.95 up to $37.95, depending on if you want to have an individual or family plan for this. But this is an incredible value. If you like these different Apple services and you have a lot of Apple devices, it's just an incredible value. Even subscribing to Apple TV Plus on its own for $9.99 is an incredible value too. This is very different than what we see from the other streaming services. Like if we compare this to Netflix, for example, the only Netflix plan that will come anywhere near the video and audio quality that we see with Apple TV Plus and still not match it is Netflix Premium Plan, which is $22.99 per month. It still has restrictions on how many TVs or devices you can watch on at once and how many people you can share the account with. And pretty much every other service has pricing similar to this, somewhere ranging from $15 to $23 per month. And they do have some lower cost plans, but those will typically have lower video and audio quality, or in a lot of cases will have ads. So you're paying a monthly fee for a service where you're still forced to watch advertisements, which is crazy and shouldn't be happening. So this is another area where Apple TV Plus really stands out and it has a strong competitive advantage. And in my opinion, this shows respect to people who are watching their shows and movies, because other streaming services are just trying to grab as much profit as they can from this age of streaming that a lot of people are going towards. And Apple is actually delivering something of quality in a market where many places aren't. Lastly, I want to talk about the Apple TV app specifically. So Apple TV is an app that stands alone from the Apple TV Plus subscription service. Apple TV is just a great app for going and exploring different content, watching trailers, seeing reviews, and it's also a great place to subscribe to other subscription services. You can subscribe to other services like AMC Plus, for example. You're not going to necessarily subscribe to things like Netflix or Hulu from there, but there are some other smaller streaming services you can subscribe to through the Apple TV app and have them all in one place. And I will say, whether you subscribe to Apple TV Plus or not, the Apple TV app is just laid out really well. It's very easy to find new content to watch, very easy to watch high quality trailers and see reviews and Rotten Tomatoes ratings there. And I just love how they laid out that app compared to how a lot of other apps are laid out in the streaming space. So in conclusion, Apple has developed an incredible streaming service here. It started out very slow to where it didn't have a lot of content or anything, but Apple's taken a great approach here to slowly introduce high quality original content instead of just dumping a bunch of recycled content we've already seen into the service and making it a cash grab. So I think between the original content they have, the great subscription services they offer between either just subscribing to Apple TV Plus or Apple One with all the other subscriptions included from Apple, I think there's great value here. And if you haven't given it a try yet, I'd highly recommend you check out Apple TV Plus. And let me know in the comments below what your favorite series are on Apple TV Plus. I'd love to hear what you're watching, what you're enjoying on there. And if you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe buttons down below. It helps me out a lot. And I look forward to sharing more with you in the next video. See you then.